Hello, everyone. So, welcome back to Venturis Stories. As our regular listeners know, uh, Arjun and I are focused on product thinking, but we also really like to talk about this thing called the product culture. And we got this concept of Venturis mindset that we believe is key to driving innovation for anybody trying to unlock trapped value in terms of launching a new product S curve. This actually confuses quite a few people in terms of, okay, what does product culture have to do with product thinking? Uh, so it is actually our hope and this platform that we have through this podcast. We intend to use this to have conversations which demystify some of this. So with that, actually today we are delighted to welcome Erin Diehl as our guest and look forward to having a conversation with Erin around some of this and hope to demystify this. Erin is a seasoned improviser. She's the founder of Improve It, leadership advisor, and very successful podcast host herself. Most recently, she has written a book called ICU, Leader's Guide to Energizing Teams Through Radical Empathy. So, in today's episode, we are going to have this conversation around mapping the key principles of what we call Venturis Mindset to the principles in Erin's book, ICU. And hopefully that helps clarify why we believe that culture is so important in product thinking. So, Erin, welcome to the show. We are really looking forward to this conversation today. But before we dive into Venturis mindset and the leadership principles from ICU, maybe you can share a brief introduction and your journey so far with our listeners.
Absolutely. My name is Erin. I like long walks on the beach. I'm a tourist. No, I am. I, that's high level. That's high level. I'll dive deeper. So no, I am the founder of Improve It. As you said, we are a professional development company that uses improv comedy to train professionals on power skills. I have the very fun job of leading a team of 22 improv professionals across the US. I equate it to driving the clown car at the circus. I am the ringleader of that clown car, and it is every day is an adventure, and it is so fun. And they're the best people you'll ever meet in your life. And I have a podcast, like you said, the Improve It podcast, where we help people just grow and be the highest versions of themselves through play. And I did write a new book that is coming out February 20th. And it is using those principles of play to help leaders energize their team through self love, selfless leadership, and attracting and maintaining a culture beyond their wildest dreams using those principles. So you're the left brain, I'm the right brain, and we're coming together to help people understand these concepts. And I'm so here for this conversation. I love it.
So I love it, Eric. I think use the word play, and we'll come back to play and sports at some point in time in this conversation. But you know, I was reading a lot of your stuff, and as well as listening to it, and I was trying to figure this out. And Gaurav and I coined this word called FAME. It's a Venturis mindset. It's about focus, adaptability, team mojo, and engagement. And I see an alignment with the core leadership principles that you're talking about, and you laid out in your book as well. I'm a big, both of us are big readers, so I read a book called Talent is Overrated recently, and I'm trying to combine the traditional, audience of ours, which is, I would say, left-brained, but trying to bring the right brain into it. I love authors like Daniel Pink,
Yes.
Malcolm Gladwell, and they talk about so much is trapped within us that we need to kind of bring it out in the right way. Now, you talked about left and right brain. So how does this align with you? When we talk about focus, adaptability, team mojo, engagement, which is our theory in terms of how we bring things to the table, you have play and the other areas that you're talking about. How do you see this kind of combine and resonate with each other? So somewhere, how do you see this, your thesis play itself out? Would be very interesting to hear.
You said a word that resonates with me. You said focus, alignment, right? Alignment right there is the key word. I could literally just take that word and put it into terms with how I run our business, how I hope that our business can help other people. So I really believe that we are all human beings put on this
Mhm.
earth. We all have a specific
Mhm.
assignment. And
Mhm.
when we are in alignment with that assignment and we understand it and we are able to nurture it, we're able to love it, we're not walking away from it, we're just saying, this is the gift I was given. I'm going to go out and I'm going to enhance that gift. And through that, I'm going to learn to love myself even more. We're filling our own cups in that alignment. When we're filled here and we're in alignment with what we're here to do, we are able to focus, to engage our team. We're able to
Mhm.
give to that team in a different way because we have given energy to our inner being first.
Mhm.
When we're in alignment with us, we can give more to the people we lead and we can become a selfless leader. When we can do that, we are attracting client relationships,
Mhm.
partner relationships, talent. We're attracting relationships to our life in a way that is serving the highest good of who we're meant to be. So that alignment in your acronym is literally what I latched onto because being in alignment with your assignment is the most beautiful thing that you could do for yourself, your team, your family. And I heard this saying the other day that goes along with this. I did not make this up, but when you think about competition, when you think about competitors, when you
Mhm.
think about comparisonitis, this quote said, "There is no competition. No one was given your assignment."
Yep.
So when you are in alignment with that assignment, you have blinders on and all you're doing is fulfilling your purpose. And with through that focus, you can help so many people and you can be the team leader, the engager that you want to be led by.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yep. That's
I got real deep there. That got real deep. You're like, I wasn't expecting that from a comedian, but that is it. That is it.
no, that is awesome. So the A in fame that Arjun talked about actually, because we are left brain thinkers, is adaptability. However, maybe we need to change it to alignment, the way
Wait, I
you
thought it was
described it.
alignment. I'm sorry. I
no,
totally thought you said
no,
alignment
no,
this whole
no,
time.
no, the alignment, what you said about, because as you were talking about it, it made me think about, I was going to talk about adaptability next. However, uh, the adaptability, when we talk about most of the time, you're adapting to external circumstances, some external trigger, and reacting to the change. Recently, I was reading this book called Think Again by Adam Grant,
Yes.
and that's a great book. It really forces you to examine your existing biases, assumptions, and rethink them, which actually is adaptability kind of on a very personal level. And as you were talking about alignment, and as I thought through this, uh, the rethinking is about aligning to what you said is your real purpose, whether you are an individual or an organization. And I have kind of gone through this on a very personal level over the last few years. Arjun and I are on this journey with Venturis also, where we are really trying to align ourselves to what we believe we are really good at. So I think alignment makes a lot of sense. However, and maybe we need to update our acronym to say adaptability and alignment.
Yeah. Give it a double A. Okay. A double A.
Uh,
I don't know why
yeah,
I heard alignment. I know it. Okay. For me, that, that acronym is alignment though, for me.
uh-huh.
Like
Yep,
thinking
yep, yep.
about your organization as a whole, that right there is saying these are our values. This is
Yep,
what
yep.
we are putting out to the world. That is alignment with
Yeah,
the two of you going out on this as on because this is your baby, right? Like this is
yep,
like
yep.
what you're saying to clients, to potential partners, to people that want to work for you, you are aligning yourselves with those words. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's really cool. And also, I have to tell you a fun fact, okay? Adam Grant went to my high school and he was
Oh,
2 years
Ah,
older than me. And I watched him swim. He was on the swim team.
yeah.
And I remember him as being this amazing swimmer. And now he's a thought leader for our generation, which is crazy. So I
Yeah.
love that book. And I think that for you, both of you aligning yourselves to the mission of your
Mhm.
organization and shouting those values, like incorporating it into this show, that's
Mhm.
alignment in itself. And
Yeah.
it's so cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what, as you were talking about it, that's the light bulb that sort of went in my head. And just talking about what rethinking and adaptability, as I was reading your book, this concept of self-love for a leader that you espouse, to me, actually, a leader who's trying to adapt, trying to realign, and ready to re-examine some of their existing biases and assumptions is investing in their personal growth. And that's kind of self-love, that you have to first invest in your own growth before you can start investing in the growth of the rest of the organization, the teams that you're leading. Would love to hear your thoughts on that, and how, if you think that self-love, this alignment, adaptability kind of jive.
Yes. Well, I'm an improviser, so I'm always adapting. We're always improvising. We are improvisers here on this stage of life. Like I truly
Mhm.
believe that. And so adaptability, I just want to play to that word too, is such an underrated value, I think, for humans and for organizations. Because guess where adaptability came into play in the um, most effective way possible? 2020. If you weren't
Mhm.
adaptable,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
okay, you didn't survive.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I actually, through 2020, through that adaptability journey, developed a very strong backbone and have so much resilience because of that time in my life. And I did write about this. I know, Arjun, you were talking about the preface of the book. I actually went through a period of time in 2020 where I was doing chronic
Mhm.
adaptability. I
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
adapting to the world and the pivot that I had to make for our business because we were completely in person. I was a new mom. I was people
Mhm.
pleasing my son, my family, everyone. And then my own mother had a stroke and almost died. So, literally, I was adapting
wow.
so much in that process. I was giving, 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 giving to everyone except myself.
Mhm.
So I developed chronic pain. And this
Mhm.
pain sat in my back and my shoulders for 2 years. I went to every chiropractor, every doctor, x rays, blood work, you name it. No one could tell me what was going on with my body
Mhm.
until, and this comes back to your self love piece, I sat down and I read this book from Gabor Mate called When the Body Says No that made me realize that I had repressed all of the emotions that I went through in this adaptability journey of my life, and that had manifested itself into chronic pain.
Mhm.
So there goes my self love journey. I had to give to myself. I'm talking about I journaled every day. I meditated. I got a therapist. I went to massages. I took myself on artist dates. I gave to myself in order to understand
Mhm.
myself.
Mhm.
And through
Huh.
that, not only did I heal my physical pain, my pain went away after I really uncovered what was the root of my problem, but I became a better mom. I became a better leader. I became a better partner because I was giving to myself first. And I had so much more to give to other people. And I
Mhm.
really did not understand self love, self care, that mindset if I didn't go through what I went through in order to understand. And that exact journey, that healed place, is where I wrote this book from.
Mhm.
Sure. That's a super interesting story, Aaron. I mean, I'm blown away because of many different reasons, but 2020, the example that you quoted, as all of us have gone through this journey of huge amount of change, huge amount of adjustment, adaptation, and how we react to it as individuals, as teams, as people, as organizations, is being, all of us have learned so much from it. And I'm going to tie it back, and you quoted alignment, so I'll pick on alignment, right? So what we are trying to do is, I love this field of heuristics right now. So heuristics is essentially about how you talk about making decisions from a different level than from data orientation. So how do you get the kind of alignment between data oriented decisions and the non-data oriented decisions, let's put it this way, or heuristics, and allow your gut to make some of these calls and provide alignment between the left and the right. And again, 2020 apart, but we've all had to make such key decisions with our health, with our teams, with our families, etc. How do you make these? Sometimes these choices are so hard, so emotional that you can't bring enough data into it. And the other hand, when you go with your gut, it just doesn't seem right because there's so much data which is controversial to it. So how do you align this and all the thoughts that you have? And you made some beautiful examples, by the way. Those examples are not just relevant, but also they are they impact the way that we think going forward, right? So we can't replicate. Hopefully, we never replicate 2020 again. But but at the same time, it's taught us everything that we are now adapting ourselves to the present day. So how do you align these two kind of I won't say antithetical thoughts, but at least from a perspective of making better decisions? How do you kind of help us kind of think that through?
Okay, we're going to hold hands. Okay, everybody hold hands. I'm going to take you through this, but we're about to get woo-woo, okay? We're about to get woo-woo. Okay, so listen, what I'm hearing you say is what's the difference between quantitative data and qualitative thoughts?
Yes.
Okay, listen, I moved to Charleston, South Carolina in 2020. I have never been friends with more doctors in my life. I literally have 3 of my best friends here are doctors, and they all have different specialties. And we talk about this all the time. They're the science, and I'm the woo. And this conversation, and I'm like, I'm where the woo meets work, okay? Because my friend can spit out all kinds of knowledge to me from her textbook that she's studied and then has really gone into the labs and seen. And I can give her knowledge from my inner being that I also know to be true. And not both are right. Both are right. And so how do you do that? I think science exists for a reason. I'm going to be completely honest. I would not be a mom without science. Okay. Science made my child. Thank God. Okay. I had a lot of infertility issues. IVF made my child. So science, I know, is here for a reason. It exists. Data we need to tell stories. We need the data. The qualitative piece goes back to that place that I went to when I healed myself from myself. I had years of stored stories in my body that I didn't even know existed. I'm talking about I started thinking I was not worthy when I was 8 years old, and I was moved from my hometown where I knew everyone to a brand new place and had to start all over again. I had years of pinup emotions and anger for the infertility journey that I went through. So I think we have this science, and there's actually a really fascinating book by this man, Dr. John Sarno, called Healing Back Pain. Okay. And it's all about this mind body connection. We need data in life to reinforce the things, but we also, as human beings, have the power to heal way more than we let on up here. The thoughts that we think, and this is the crux of his book, when you heal your mindset, when you replace thoughts of I'm dying, I'm sick, etc., with more positive thoughts, you're able to change the words that you say and you're able to change your actions. By healing my mind, I healed my body because what was going on was a bunch of qualitative conversations in my own mind that were detrimental to me. They were crushing me. And you know what's interesting and kind of spiritual about that whole experience? My pain was in my shoulders, okay, like my lower lats. And
Mm-hmm.
when you think about the shoulder as a body part, well, what does the shoulder do? It lifts things, it
Mm-hmm.
carries things.
Mm-hmm.
I was carrying the weight of other people's emotions and my own emotions for years. And so, yes, science, we needed the science to look at my back and say everything's in line, you know, XYZ is happening in your blood work. We needed that data, but our bodies and our mind can do so much more for us than we even allow ourselves to know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's being really quiet and studying that and in looking inward, that self-love that can not only help you, but it just helps you in every area of your life because the
Mm-hmm.
people in your life are affected by your own mindset, whether you like it or not.
Yep. That's amazing. I'm loving this conversation. Trying to bring this to maybe where some of our audience also relates to it better. The mindset that you talked about, we talked about a very personal level mindset. The reason we talk about Venturis mindset and this concept is because Arjun and I believe that same thing applies to an organization also. An organization is kind of an organism. It has a mindset, and there is all the quantitative part of it, which typical leaders lead the organization with, which is all the left brain thinking. And we talked about Venturi's mindset because we want to bring in the right brain thinking in terms of the decision making. And two of the things that we talk about in that Venturi's mindset are this team mojo and engagement. So it is, we often get asked this question. It is actually a very ethereal concept. For the left brain thinkers, it is very hard to measure something like a team mojo. However, we believe that it is actually, if you take any sports team for an example, this is fundamental to what makes the difference between winning and losing. You talk about something called the magnetic culture in your book as being the key to eventually being a great leader, creating organizations and leading through radical empathy. So, would like to hear your thoughts on that.
Yes. Okay. Can I also share some data with you and the listeners because I think this will hit. This is data. Okay, leads into where I'm going. So essentially what I'm hearing you say too is that when we as an organization lead from a abundance mindset versus a
Mm-hmm.
place of scarcity,
Yep.
we accomplish so much more. And as a business owner, I know that to be so true. Anytime that my mindset or my head of sales, my VP of client experiences mindset is of scarcity, we don't make money.
Yep. Yep.
We really don't. And it is such a mindset for attracting people and attracting others into your life. And that's what the magnetic culture piece is. But the data comes from a study that I use in one of my talks. It's from the National Science Foundation. It was a study in 2005 that the average human being thinks between 50,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day.
Mm-hmm.
Of those 50 to 80,000, we form thought worms. We form 12,000, I'm sorry, not 1,200, 12,000 thought worms a day, which are essentially thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
sentences strung together. Of those 12,000 thought worms that we think a day, what percentage of those do you think are negative thoughts?
For an average human being,
Yeah.
or I would say actually it's probably 70-75% of those.
Good. Okay. Arjun, what do you think?
I don't know, 50-50. I'm
Yeah.
an optimist.
Okay, I like that. I appreciate that. It's actually 85% of our thoughts, an average human being's thoughts, are negative. So when
Wow.
you, right?
Wow.
And
Wow.
then here's the other kicker, we are repeating these same thoughts in our
Yep.
brains
Yep.
95% of the time.
Yep.
So when you lead from this place of scarcity, when you lead
Mm-hmm.
from this mindset of I'm not enough,
Mm-hmm.
you are actually you are you're like the opposite of a magnet. You are like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everything
Yep.
is falling
Yep.
down, nothing is
Mm-hmm.
coming your way, bad things are continuously happening because that's what you're feeding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
when you flip that and you give that thought process to yourself, you're changing not only your mindset, but you're changing the people around you, because the words, your thoughts affect the words that you speak, and your words affect the actions that you do. And so those actions are what people see more than the words. And so
Mm-hmm.
when they see an organization like yours taking action, bringing people to the table by showcasing their core values, walking the walk and talking the talk, you're attracting people who not only believe in you, but they believe in the mission that's greater than you, that why.
Mm-hmm.
That's more important, especially to the newer workforce, Gen Z. They want to
Yep.
know, what's the mission? How am I
Mm-hmm.
impacting the greater good? What is
Sure.
this doing? And that right there will align. There's that word, alignment. Those When those two things align, your actions, your mission, and the people that you attract, you are going to have this ripple effect in the world, because your work will be impacted because people are on board with your mission. So you two are the visionaries. The
Mm-hmm.
people that you hire are the missionaries, bringing that mission
Mm-hmm.
to the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so, I mean, again, the comments that you're making are so spot on. When you align a mission, whether it's, Apollo 13, or whether it is, Oppenheimer choosing movie titles so that, people also understand that it is a mission. And as long as you align the mission, the people and the culture become just enablers to that. I mean, sometimes these missions are just so out of reach. Electrification. We talk about, electric cars. We talk about Tesla. We talk about, even today we're talking about, features in ChatGPT which are coming into play, which can revolutionize our lives, as well as the things that we have
Mm-hmm.
yet to be seen. But you at the start of this discussion, you talked about play, and I picked on that. I like picking on words, and so Gaurav and I are also, sports enthusiasts, and we often wonder. We will not talk about the Super Bowl. We will not talk about the Super Bowl. We will not talk about
Don't
the
do that.
Super Bowl.
Don't
We
talk
will
about the
not do
Taylor Swift bowl.
that.
Don't talk about the Taylor
They,
Swift bowl. Yeah.
no, we will not talk about the Niners. But anyway, coming back. um, anyway, so one of the things that we always try to draw analogies from is that how precision or high-end sports teams or individuals within sports team think and play. So again,
Mm-hmm.
thinking on the think and play is that you are gifted as a human being. You are gifted as a talented, as a basketball player, as a football player, whatever sport you like. How do you bring this together? And you talked about this in your improv, in your leadership lessons. Is that how do you draw parallels of making individuals within sports teams play better, and individuals, and I draw this parallel because of individuals within organizations, how do you make them play better and focus better so that that mission that we talk about, which is sometimes unreachable when you think about it, can be reached and be climbed through?
It's a really great question. And I'm just going to speak from my own experience, because I am not good at sports. Okay. Hashtag sports. Okay. I love college football, and I like to watch it, but the only I have no hand-eye coordination. Okay. It just doesn't work. But I do play on stage, and I love to play. And that's actually my intention for the year. So here is something that I know to be true as a leader who has that sort of through line of alignment within her organization. It is paying attention to intention. And what happened in the very early stages of our business was myself and some of the founding members sat down collectively, and we created a list of core values that served all of us. And I go through this at length in the book. I give a step-by-step instruction on how to do this with your team, because what you are doing is you're not only bringing the core values of the individuals to play, but you're creating something that's bigger than you and you're celebrating in that collective success, I truly believe having more than just the leadership team sit down to do this can make people feel aligned, because when they start, it's like a project. If you have a say and you're a seat at the table and your voice is heard, when you have celebrated that success, when you've hit that goal, you're going to be way more excited because you were a part of that process, versus if you come into an organization, here's our core values and this is what we stand for. Well, when you make core values a part of the practice of every day, people really start to understand that, oh, this isn't just a job. This is a part of the mission. So we establish the core values and then we hire based on those core values. So everyone who comes into the organization goes through the same set of core values questions, because we know we can train them on the skill, but we want to make sure that their values align with ours. And then every 6 months we do biannual reviews where our entire measurement system is a scale of all 6 core values that we have, and we measure against them. And it's a 1 through 5. 1 is low, 5 is high, and we rate each other. And I get feedback too. It's not just me giving it. I get the feedback from every single team member internally, because that's how important aligning ourselves with our mission is making sure we are connected to those values at all costs.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, looks like you do practice a little bit of left brain thinking also when
Yeah.
it comes to measuring performance.
So I will tell you, my team and I do love data. Okay. And people are like, you are improvisers, but you're very type A. And we're like, I know it's an anomaly. But we do like to measure. We really big are a measurement, but we also within that have so much fun and play within
Yep.
those walls, right?
I
Sure.
So,
think that's kind of the key. Striking that balance is what we are also after. So, one last question. This has been a great conversation. Last question before we let you go. On your website, came across this concept called fail fluencing. I think we can take a guess on what it is, but we'll give you the opportunity to explain to our listeners in your own words what is fail fluencing and
wait,
what does that have to do with the leadership.
I want to hear your guess. Can I hear the guess?
I think so. Our guess is failure is, of course, as you do anything on whatever journey you are on, failure is inevitable. What it is what you do with the failures. Are you actually learning from the failures and influencing the way forward in terms of how you have learned from it and how you grow? That would be the guess, but
Yeah.
Nailed it.
So
Go ahead,
go
Arjun.
ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
So I was going to say the Valley has a standard line for this. It's called "Move fast and break things." And when you break things, you fail, and you realize, hey, by the way. But yeah, at the same time, we are paramount in terms of focusing of moving fast, because that's the only way you stay ahead of the race. So that's my interpretation of it. But love to hear yours.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Break things. I want to bring that into my core values. Okay. That needs to be an everyday. I'm going to break things. Exactly. You'll both nailed it. I'm going to ask for your help when we put this into Wikipedia and Webster. We're going to come back to you for those definitions. But yeah, exactly what you said. It's really all about celebrating failure, looking at failure as an opportunity, doing that frequently. The more you fail, the more you're innovating, the more you're innovating, the more you're giving the world and
Sure.
celebrating your own uniqueness. And then if you can fail frequently, that will ultimately lead to the fundamentals of your
Yep.
success. And so those are my F words that I drop on stage. I'm an F bomb dropper, and but I really believe in Phil fluencing, and it kind of, you know, that phrase like teach what you need to know. That happened to me in 2020. I literally remember there was a point in 2020. I just got on my knees, I looked at the sky, and I was like, I can't take any more. So I really had a crash course in that in 2020, and I started teaching fail fluencing at that time, and it actually was such a wonderful way for me to reframe my own life through teaching it. So, yeah, I've learned so much just sharing that message with people. I do a lot of keynote speaking. This is one of my big talks. It's called F Words at
Hmm.
Work, and people just feel so liberated, like they're like, yes. So it's really fun. It's really fun. And then when you just, it's like the elephant in the room. If you just address the
Yep.
elephant in the room all the time, it doesn't scare you as much. It's not this big creature.
Yep.
So it's been really fun to play with that and just feel fluence through
Yep.
life.
This is great. We've really, I think, the left brain, right brain coming together. This conversation has really been everything that we hoped for and more. Thanks, Erin. It has been a pleasure having you on this. And good luck with the book. Would encourage all our listeners to pick up a copy, read it. Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Erin, thank you so much. For me, Kansas just flew by,